Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm John Cena Sr.
Unbelievable. The lights at the Thunderdome have gone down. The lights here at MWF Studios have come up. Our brand new Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays is now.
Wrestling fans, Saturday night, May the 8th, MWF Studios gets extreme as ECW legend New Jack joins us for the very first time, taping episodes of Wrestling Insiders along with taking part in a live cyber autograph signing open to fans around the world. For more information on joining the three-time ECW Tag Team Champion for Must-See TV, visit BostonWrestling.com and our social media platforms.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store.
Check it out.
The Undisputed Era kicked ass and took no prisoners in WWE NXT. Now you can own this limited edition collector's autographed art print personally signed by Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish. Also signed by the original artist, Rob Schamberger, one of only 50 made direct from our friends at WWE. Help keep wrestling legends working. Get this awesome collectible for your collection now.
Cheer! Why, hello! I would ask what was on your mind, but I already know. You want to know what has got my beard looking oh so majestic. And I'll tell you, it's sexy as hell beard care. Coconut oil, vitamin E oil, almond oil, both sweet and bitter, shea butter, it's all natural. Yes, JTG has actually come out with a high quality product. So support your boy by going to sahbeardcare.com and take one step closer to becoming sexy as hell. Cheer. Ooh, cheer. You know?
Boston Wrestling Sports and the MWF explodes into a new year of unknown with professional wrestling content galore, and we need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after we review the previous night's Monday Night Raw, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with the unpredictable WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights after WWE, NXT, and AEW at 10 p.m., you never know who's going to show up on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll journey through the 80s and 90s on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday nights after the lights go down at the Thunderdome on SmackDown, it's John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. If you want early, ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and to help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times, for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
All right, Johnny, as we approach what's turned into something you and I have talked a great deal about, the annual Make-A-Wish Day on April the 29th this month. Those great little kids, I don't know how many of them get to experience WrestleMania this year. Usually WWE, as always, goes above and beyond to try and help out those Make-A-Wish kids, where health is such an issue right now, and there were such limitations within Raymond James Stadium. I don't know if it was the annual impact that WWE has with the Special Olympics kids and the Make-A-Wish kids, but I'm sure if not this year, certainly next year they'll make up for it and then some if Dallas is open to full capacity.
I'm sure next year we'll see a whole different world, I hope. And I would say that this year it would be very difficult to take these young men and women because of their situations and their immune systems and bring them into
they gotta be really careful.
an environment that may have been fully safe, but you can't take the chance. So I would say next year will be the big year for Make-A-Wish and for the Special Olympics.
Well, fans, continue to monitor programs, social media, as we're trying to come up with something really cool for Make-A-Wish Day on April the 29th. It is one of those causes that's near and dear to our heart. It's one that we've done a lot for. I've never been one to publicize or over-publicize a lot of the charity work we do unless it's something we're trying to raise money for direct. But, you know, I'm looking forward to what we have cooking for Make-A-Wish Day. But, Johnny, the fans wanted us to continue our trip down memory lane from WrestleMania 37 as we try and figure out what the new schedule for Wrestling Insiders is going to be. We know we're going to have the podcast-style show with Oscar as the lead into Raw. Oscar, the superstar from the WWE in the mid-90s.
Wow.
Every week he's going to join us before Raw as kind of a lead-in.
Huh?
That's right. And then who knows who is going to take that Tuesday night slot from the Hall of Famer himself, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas? Will Tony's common sense come back to him and have him return? Will we find someone new from Wrestle House? Will we find someone outside of Wrestle House for that Tuesday night slot? It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Definitely interested to see what happens. So, Oscar, just out of curiosity, we doing this every Tuesday night?
No, he'll be doing it Monday night before Raw.
Really?
Podcast style.
Every Monday night?
Yes.
So he'll call in, or you?
Will we speak via telephone?
Nice.
And the podcast suite
we should
we
try
have in the other
doing
room.
that Zoom or Switchblade or whatever it is.
Yeah,
It works out well. I've done several
look kind
podcasts
of lousy,
that way.
though. I'm not a big fan.
I tell you what, I just did a podcast. Matter of fact, I've done almost 9 now, where they used a different, something different other than Zoom. Was perfect. Worked out very well. I've had a few bleeps with the Zoom, but this other one, I can give you the name off the air.
Maybe we can
worked
take a
out
look
perfectly
at that.
well. That way, it's face to face. Works out well. The fans get a chance to see you and who you're speaking with. Works out really, really well. I'll give you the name.
Yeah, that's something to look into.
Yep.
And as always, Wednesday night, 10 p.m., we have our Wrestling Insider Special Edition. It's a different guest every week to keep you guys on your toes, to give you guys some variety, almost like those cable news shows at night on CNN and Fox and MSNBC. You never know who you're going to see. Thursday night, as always, it's that no-holds-barred sex, drugs, and rock and roll look at the 80s and 90s as we party with Marty Jannetty. And then Friday night, we wrap up the week with this guy himself, the old Johnny Cash of Boston Wrestling MWF. I know, Johnny, you're getting ready for the big one. Saturday night, November the 13th, back to the 80s at Memorial Hall as we celebrate in-ring 20 years of the MWF. Our 20th anniversary. You know it is going to be a blockbuster night. Unless they cancel on us again.
I kind of think that this COVID will be hopefully in check. I've got a lot of weddings, as you know, I'm a justice of the peace. I had very few last year. I'm booked for like 16, more coming in.
Wow.
So I think that what you're going to see is more and more venues will be opening up. You'll have more and more people coming through. I just hope they don't do this COVID passport or things like that. I have a whole opinion on that, which we're not going to discuss here. But I'm looking forward to the 13th of November. It's going to be a slobber knocker.
Fans have wanted to know, Johnny, to really make a special 20th anniversary weekend something in addition to the legends that will be taking part in the event November 13th, in addition to the hungry young athletes of yesterday, today, and tomorrow competing in the squared circle. What about, at some point that weekend, the debut of about almost a new generation of the fabulous women of wrestling? Do you think the legends would outshine them?
Actually, want to bring in some female wrestlers?
On its own separate event. Maybe the Friday night, maybe the Sunday. The fabulous women of wrestling live.
Always food for thought. You know how I feel about that.
Well, I know you have had the idea for the platform for a while. Maybe our 20th anniversary as we begin a new decade, a new adventure, a new journey. Maybe now is the time to launch these fabulous women. You know my thoughts on the women's wrestling, but I am also a man that is open-minded, and I think if it's something that'll make wrestling fans happy, if it can be its own separate platform like I'd like to see WWE give the great women they have on their roster, maybe the 20th anniversary is the time to introduce the fabulous women.
Food for thought. I know that a lot of the young ladies in the indie circuit anyway, a lot of them got out of the business with the COVID situation.
They just gave up.
They just said, you know what, I enjoy doing it, but at the same time, I'm not making any money. Nobody's looking for anybody new. So unfortunately, a lot of the young women that I used to work with probably are just working for one promotion or taking only one booking. You know,
I guess the good news is we have about 7 months if we were to put something like that together.
You know what? I think that should be a plan in motion. Something we should think about. Certainly, if we're going to do it, and you know me, and I know you, it's got to be the best of the best.
Yes, we don't want garbage.
No, I don't want somebody that said, I've trained in the ring for 4 months, I'm ready. Not looking for that. No, Widow Belmont, somebody that comes to mind right away. I know that she's kind of backed off on a lot of what she's done. You know,
it would be interesting for me. I really don't know a lot of these people.
It's going to be difficult, I'll tell you right now. And I will say this, to their credit, women's wrestling, trying to find young ladies to work in this business or perform is very, very difficult because it's like the little people. It's on a limited basis. You know, you can get I'm ready, but they're not. I mean, when you look at people in that ring, I work with young ladies who could probably outshine some of these guys. So that's the kind of matches you want to see. I remember the match with Widow Belmont and it slips me. I'm sorry.
It must have been a classic. Yeah.
Well, it was. They were bloodied up.
You don't even remember. You don't even remember who she wrestled.
No, she's.
She's on the tip of your tongue.
No, she's been around a long time and she's great at what she does. It's just that my mindset isn't on it right now. But they had a match, and I will tell you this: you talk about juicing and bleeding. Wow, what a match! And it was a tables, ladders, and chair match.
Wow.
So,
do you think it would be better to give, if we were to go the route of the fabulous women of wrestling during our 20th anniversary? Do you think it would be maybe better to give them their own weekend, or to tie it into the big event itself on maybe the Friday or the Sunday?
I would think that if you're going to do it, it might be nice to, like a WrestleMania, like NXT or whatever, might be nice to tie it in.
Anniversary weekend.
Yeah, just to say if we're going to do it, we debut it. But I will tell you this, it might not be received as well as the gentleman, only because another promoter tried it, and it didn't work out well at all. So,
but they're not John Cena Sr.
But he's a good promoter. He's been around a long time. All right. So, you know, let's give it some thought.
We'll give it some thought. We got a long way to go.
How about the fans give us their input?
Fans, we'd love your thought, fans. Would you like to see the fabulous Women of Wrestling promotion launch? We'll put that out there as John Cena Sr.'s mind is always working. If you're joining us during the premiere on Friday night, chat away in the little chat box. If you are watching after the fact, leave your thoughts in the comment section below, or you can go really old school, send us an email, bw@bostonwrestling.com. We'd love your thoughts. Do you want a live all-women's wrestling promotion as part of what we do under the Boston Wrestling Sports umbrella? If you want it, I think we should do it.
I think it would pay off and the fans would see a different type of wrestling. As I say, the young women that I'm associated with, that I know, I'm telling you, some of these young ladies could outshine some of these young men.
Now, would you want to see any female legends appear on the show?
Yes, definitely.
You would?
You'd have to. Yeah, in order to make this a tribute and in order to professional wrestling, for the women's professional wrestling, that would be the best way to kick it off.
All right, well, maybe Annie could be the commissioner of the group.
Another story for another time.
All right, wrestling fans, you want to talk about another story? WrestleMania 37, Night 2. Everybody was evacuated again for the second night, which, as you can imagine, thrilled me to no end in my rain poncho. But it wasn't as bad as Night 1 as far as the rain goes, definitely. It was much more toned down. It made for a much better atmosphere, I think. By the time the glitz and the glamour began at 8 o'clock, the pyro, it was a beautiful sight, Johnny, to be there in that nice warm Florida weather at night, nice breeze. The rain had stopped, maybe a little mist here and there, but overall, it was just a great night. I thought night one was better than night two. That's my personal opinion. I don't know if you agree or disagree with that.
I think night one was okay. Night two was good.
Really? So you like night two better?
Well, you know what? It's pretty difficult to say one was better than the other.
I don't think so.
Well, I don't like to do that. You know, I suppose if I've got to give the devil his due, I would go with night one only because of what we had for matches. I would do that. But I think everybody worked their ass off to try to make it a great 2 nights.
Sure did. We saw on night two, Tamina and Natalya challenge Big Nia and the Herman Munster lookalike there, Shayna Baszler, for the tag team titles in another concession stand match. Your thoughts on that all-out war that we saw?
No comment.
It wasn't that good in your opinion?
No. I was disappointed. I really was. I expected more, especially from the people that were involved. I expected more. I was disappointed.
In the Women's Raw Championship match that night, though, Johnny, you saw Asuka lose to Rhea Ripley. And
Surprise.
I thought that was the right call, because I think if you had Rhea lose, she turns into just another face on the show. I think by giving her the title right off the bat like that, at least she has some credibility and she comes across as someone important.
Agreed. I think they did make the right move there. The writers made the right decision.
And I like Asuka an awful lot. She's one of the few.
Outstanding. Is she not?
Yes.
Outstanding. Every time I hear she's going to be on a show, I'm there. I watch it. She's just so good at what she does and how she brings it across. They should learn from Natalya. They should learn from the Asukas. See, I don't think they tap what they have. They just go out there, and I get so on my high horse on this. They just do their own thing. Anyway, I think it was a great move. I think it was the right decision, and now we've got a new champion.
Unbelievable, Johnny. I tell you this, be interesting to see where things go next with Asuka. Charlotte Flair made her return on Raw the next night, so I'm sure Charlotte will be in the mix as well. What about a match that had a lot of people talking, good or bad? Kevin Owens defeated Sami Zayn with the involvement of, I guess, social media star Logan Paul involved, Johnny. What did you think of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, frenemies almost? Zayn has been pushing this ridiculous documentary that no one cares about on television for quite a while, and a feud with Owens that just, to me, really didn't connect. I'm not a fan, professionally, really, of either guy. I think Sami Zayn almost looks like he's a neighbor of Oscar the Grouch with the way he's presented, and Kevin Owens, to me, is just, after the great work he did for the first couple of years, is just kind of repetitive, kind of boring to me. He doesn't really have a wrestler's look. It's almost like now that he does the stunner, he's like trying to be a Halloween Steve Austin.
I like Kevin Owens. I do. I really think he's got a lot of potential there. Once again, he came on strong for 2 years. He got the rub. He got the rub from Cena.
Because of JC.
Yep, yeah. He got the rub. He did well with that rub. And I'll tell you, I've watched him several times. I'm a fan of Kevin Owens. I think we're right back where we started from. It's all about the writing. It's all about what I'm being asked to do and how I'm being asked to do it. I think what I see, I may be wrong, but I think the balloon's getting deflated. You know, he was really, and all of a sudden I don't see that anymore. I see a little bit of it. The stunner, you know what, been there, done that. How many times you're going to play the game? I just think they're selling this Kevin Owens kid shot. He's got the potential. He's got the look.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
You know what?
You'd push Owens higher up the card.
I think if you did.
We saw him in the SmackDown version of the main event at the Royal Rumble in that no-holds-barred match with
Roman
Reigns. I believe we have the poster right there on the set. It is available in the eBay store, folks. I believe it's one of only 100. If you're interested, it's signed by Owens, Roman, and Paul Heyman.
Let me tell you, I'd buy that because, let me tell you, that was an excellent match, except for the referee screw-ups.
The nonsense.
That was stupid.
And also, if they were a fan of Survivor Series, Johnny, we have the Survivor Series event poster that's signed by SmackDown Universal Champion Roman Reigns, his advocate Paul Heyman, and the, at the time, WWE Champion Drew McIntyre. Available in the eBay store, folks. Link in the description box below.
Well, I mean,
put them over, brother.
I like that. You know, that one, there's a
Which
comic
one do you
book.
like more?
That looks like a DC comic right there. That's a great, great poster, as is that one right there. You'll never see that again. Ever.
No.
Ever.
And you talk limited edition.
One of 100? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? If you got something like that, wow, awesome. Awesome.
If you want to see pictures of it, there's some zoomed in pictures of the number. There's an authentication
What number do you
sticker
have
by,
there?
I don't even remember. Oh, geez, Johnny, you really want it. Look at
No,
this,
I want to make it good. It says
I think it's in the
January
lower, I think it's on
31,
the bottom.
Oh, it's 31 of 50.
And what about the SmackDown
And the
Wait a
other
minute.
one says, I can't see it.
Yeah.
It's 42 of 50. 31.
That one's only one of 50, the Survivor Series?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's 42 of 50 there and 31 of 50 there. Let me tell you
That's
something.
limited edition.
If you're a true wrestling fan and you're looking for limited edition memorabilia, first of all, if you can't find it at Boston Wrestling, MFW, you don't need it. We got it. We got it. Those two right there, those should be gone like that.
Well, the eBay store was hot during WrestleMania time, I'll say that.
Let's hope they're gone.
And that helps keep the wrestling legends working, because the money that we make, it's not going into our coffers, unfortunately. It goes right back into the show to try and keep wrestlers working, to try and give you guys at home more content, to try and build up that Patreon streaming service where you get early access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, you get full access to our studio shoot interview DVD library that's been seen by millions online and millions more on the Howard Stern Show. You get Patreon exclusive news and videos. And again, you get that great knowledge, Johnny, along with some perks that you helping keep the legends working during the worst of times. I mean, let me tell you, those conventions and whatnot down in Tampa tanked.
Yeah.
Tanked.
Not good.
Tanked.
Not good.
That's why I'm glad we weren't involved. I hate to say it, because I think we would have had fun being there, but from the financial point of view, the only bath I was taking that weekend was the one at the house.
Yeah,
You know what
total
I mean?
loss. Total loss.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done that. That was bad. Anybody that thought they could make money there was on the wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah.
Not this year. But again, you saw what Kevin Owens can do. I'll even go so far as to say he carried Roman Reigns in a couple of spots.
You think so?
Yeah, so I think, you know what? Owens has got the potential. He just needs to be let go. Not let go from
No,
WWE,
I understand.
but let go. Sami Zayn, you know what? I'm not a fan. I hate to say it. I got to side with you on that. I'd rather see Oscar the Grouch in the ring.
What did you think of the Nigerian Drum match, Johnny, between Big E and a guy that I was big on being given a push to, Apollo Crews?
Different.
Yeah.
Different. There again, I just kind of sit back and say somebody had an idea. What it was supposed to be, I'm not quite sure. I think Big E showed the potential that he has. Apollo, you know, I'm not sure he's going to make it all the way to the top.
You think maybe this is his peak?
I know that they both worked hard. I thought it was a halfway decent match. We'll see where it goes from here.
And you saw the debut of a new giant that interfered to help him win the match. I believe his name is Baba Tunde. I don't know if that's what he's going to go by.
Why in God's earth, here I go again, get in trouble, John, why would you give somebody that name with everything that's going on today?
What's wrong with Baba Tunde?
What did you call it?
I think it's Baba Tunde.
Buba Tunde. Buba Tunde. You got to get it straight, man. Buba Tunde.
Okay, well,
you
what's
can't,
wrong?
How are you going to call him Baba?
Or Buba Tunde.
There you go, because it's a Nigerian drum match. That makes sense. No, I agree with that. No, but if you're going with Bubba, you might as well.
What's wrong with Bubba?
Okay, let's move on now before we shut us down.
What's wrong with Bubba?
We'll talk after we get off the air.
Okay. I think maybe it would have been better if they introduced the man before WrestleMania, because no one knew who he was.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sitting here with my son, Sean, and all of a sudden I go, who's he? Where did he come out of? Who is he? They pick the most inopportune times, and they pick the craziest spots. You know, you're right. Even if there was somebody in the shadows, even if they just showed the shadow, even if they just had this weird voice, you know, from Nigeria, we're going to Bango.
Or Apollo talking to someone off camera.
Absolutely,
like that,
anything with just the shadow. You know, we'll show them the shadow of Nigeria. We will survive. We will be. No, they didn't even do that.
Here's what's killing me about the whole thing, Johnny. I have been an advocate of my own for Apollo Crews getting a stronger push than he had in recent years, almost since day one. When you see his matches at the non-televised events or house shows, as you may call them, I think his work is superb.
It's outstanding.
Yes, I was very happy that Paul Heyman chose to give him a big push on Raw last year before they cut ties as far as him working in creative. And then Apollo kind of went back to no man's land. Then he got a fresh coat of paint on SmackDown, but to go to the length where they gave this man an accent that he didn't have for the first 5 years of his career in WWE, I just thought it was complete and utter nonsense, and it takes away from the credibility of the work that he's doing because it's just nonsensical to me.
Thank you. And that's what I mean when I say Nigerian Drum match. Why? There was no need of that. You've got two outstanding people working this match, working the show. That's why I say it lost a little bit of luster. Outside of that, it is what it is.
It is what it is. A surprise of the night, maybe, to me. You saw the veteran Sheamus come away with the WWE United States Championship with the win over Riddle.
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Will Sheamus keep the belt, or will the Riddler be back? Only we know, the next show will tell. I hope Sheamus keeps it, and Riddle go to hell. You know what I'm saying? It's like Sheamus deserves this. Sheamus, my man, you deserve it. Great guy, personal friend. I mean that truly. I haven't seen a whole lot of him lately, but he's a great guy. He's got some great stories. You know, that guy really knows how to mix it up. You talk about somebody in the business outside of Brock Lesnar and McIntyre and Lashley and a few others. This guy can really mix it up. I think it's about time. He's just been kind of in these goofy roles, and you know they've always Cesaro and him. Great.
They were a great tag
yes.
team. They were great
and
together.
They did nothing for them. So kudos to my friend.
All right, wrestling fans, as we continue to break down the weekend that was WrestleMania 37 at a sold-out Raymond James Stadium, at least with the seats made available, we'll continue our look back at WrestleMania and that U.S. title match after this brief timeout. Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store. Check it out.
At WrestleMania 37, she proved she is the EST, defeating Sasha Banks to become the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Here's your chance to own this limited edition collector's autograph print, personally signed by Bianca Belair, one of only 50 made, direct from our friends at WWE. Also signed by original artist Rob Schamberger. Help keep wrestling legends working. Get this awesome Bianca Belair collectible for your wrestling collection now.
All right, wrestling fans, welcome back to Wrestling Insiders as we break down WrestleMania Night 2 and Part 2 of a 2-week series of WrestleMania highlights, maybe even a couple of lowlights. You know, I think what loses me with Riddle, Johnny, is everything except the bell-to-bell work. I think Riddle, with his MMA background, is a real-life shoot fighter and whatnot. In the ring, he's very, very good when the bell rings until the point the bell ends. Everything else other than that is some of the worst creative material I have ever seen for someone with talent, where they present him as a complete and utter imbecile. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's fun. I don't think him riding around on a scooter is going to sell merchandise or sell tickets when fans come back to the arena. I think his promos are childish, absurd, and ridiculous. I think his music is childish, absurd, and ridiculous. I think his flip-flops are childish, absurd, and ridiculous. I hate the entire presentation of the man outside of his actual body of work inside the ring, which I think is very good. But if you're going to present him as a moron before he even comes out, how are the fans going to become attached to him as a wrestler? Having fights, simulated violence, sports entertainment. The entertainment part is not entertaining. The sport part of him is very good.
Well, the one thing I can say is this, that, you know, we saw it happen before with Nick Dinsmore.
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen with this kid, too.
Really?
Nick Dinsmore has outstanding talent. I worked with Nick a couple of times in the ring as the heel, Johnny Fabulous, great guy to work with. You know, what they're doing is they're doing the same thing with this young man as they started out. He started to be over, this guy with the zippered on, you know, jacket, you know, his uncle, Eric Bischoff, and then what happened? He just went the way of the albatross. If they continue doing that with this man who has wrestling talent, and I mean that, and when I did that little rhyme, that wasn't that he couldn't wrestle. That's just that all the baloney that they're putting him through. When Lashley destroyed that scooter, I said, great, now it's gone. Won't have to work with that crap anymore. I don't know who comes up with this stuff. I really don't. I don't know who thinks it's funny, but it's not. You know, utilize the talent for who they are and what they are. Maybe you could make this Riddle guy into whatever you want. Maybe he should have been a Riddle. Maybe he should have been a mystery. Maybe when he's got that secret mystery hold or holds. But somehow, maybe I'm just too far-fetched and look at things in a different way.
I think with his MMA background, I think he just should have gone out there and kicked ass and been a little serious about it.
Amen. I agree. I agree with that. You know what? When you have somebody that can... That would be like taking Brock Lesnar and put him in that position.
Yeah.
Or Lashley.
Yeah.
Or McIntyre. It doesn't make sense. You're wasting talent, in my opinion. That's all I have to say.
Well,
and you know, he could have beat the shit out of Sheamus.
Yeah. I think Sheamus is getting a little long in the tooth. I was surprised that they had a relative newcomer that they really want to push strong lose at WrestleMania, but I thought it was a really good finish when Sheamus got that bro kick almost out of nowhere on him to get the 3 count.
Bang.
It was almost the battle of the bro versus the bro kick, and I liked how it ended.
I agree. I would agree with that.
I think Matt Riddle, something needs to be done to his character to make the character want to be angry and want some revenge and want to kick some ass.
Well, they can do that very easily. You can turn it very quickly where he begins to realize that he's not the fool, that he's not the imbecile, that he is the professional, and now we have all hell break loose. And we have this new emergence of this Matt Riddle, the person who knows who he is, not who they think he was or is. And I think there's a lot of ways to do this. The question is, will they do it, or will he be another Nick Dinsmore who has outstanding talent in the ring, who's a great professional, create a character, and then all of a sudden it floats the way of the albatross? It doesn't work.
Well, you want to talk about the albatross, Johnny. What about the opening contest the second night of WrestleMania 37, where we saw Randy Orton defeat the now unburned Fiend?
You know what? I always say this. I jokingly say it. I used to have a lot of farm animals. I don't need any more bullshit. I really don't. You know, now Randy Orton is saying, with this battle with the Fiend, there's going to be a lot of shit coming down. I think that was his exact comments. You know what? They are taking Bray Wyatt and making him a complete idiot. Sorry to say it. That young man and that character has so much going for him. Mm-hmm. There again is another situation. That Wyatt family, what a great idea. If they'd have brought Sister Abigail in, it would have been a great idea. You know, and then they bring in the Fiend, going like hell, right? Then what happens to that? Now he's losing. Please. I mean, was it Sister Abigail that finally came out? Well, come on, let's be real.
What I think is even worse, Johnny, is that it feels like now the whole angle is revolving around her as opposed to Orton and the Fiend.
Thank you.
And who really, again...
Who cares?
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth. You know, I liked Alexa Bliss as Alexa Bliss. This possessed Alexa Bliss like she was Deidre Hall on Days of Our Lives back in the mid-90s. I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't think it's fun. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's spooky. I don't think it's scary. I just think it's stupid.
Well, there was I can't think of promotion. You're better at than I am. Was it WWC New Japan Pro? Her name was Rose, a Japanese wrestler Rose, but she was just like way out spooky. They brought her in a coffin. It was really deep, really dark. If you're going to play the game, play the game. Don't do this half-ass thing.
You don't think her coming out of the Jack in the Box with the black ooze coming out of her head was the way to go?
So somebody thought that would be the birth of Sister Abigail. Are you kidding me? Come on. You know what? They did more to destroy the character and the match with that stupidity. Whoever thinks of this stuff?
I got to be honest, Johnny, when they started that, I didn't even think it was him. I thought it was someone disguised as him, and the burnt Fiend was going to come out. I guess apparently the burns... If
disappeared, huh?
Yeah. Either that or he lost a lot of weight, because he looked, at least from being there live, he looked, I don't know what to say, skinnier, but he wasn't as bulky as the last time I had seen him.
He looked shaped up.
So I thought that maybe they were going to pull an angle where there was another Fiend, almost like they did with the Doinks at one point back at WrestleMania 9.
Good idea.
I thought maybe that would have been a way to reintroduce Bo Dallas, maybe as the unburned Fiend, and then eventually in the match, the burned Fiend came out, but no, the Fiend was the Fiend. And this monster, this destroyer, this man of evil, all of a sudden lost because Sister Alexa Bliss came out of the Jack in the Box with ooze coming out of her head, which was apparently enough to distract the man from this top match at WrestleMania against Randy Orton and be hit by the RKO for the loss. Randy comes away with the win. I liked how Randy had the white tights on. That was something different for him. Sometimes for the big pay-per-views, he mixes it up, as he's usually almost like the cowboy, always in black tights, black boots. He had the white on for WrestleMania. But you talk about a flat reaction from the crowd. They did not particularly care for that finish with Alexa Bliss coming out of the Jack in the Box with the ooze on her face. Hearing these words come out of my mouth just says to me how ridiculous it is.
Who thinks of these things? Who thinks it's funny? Who thinks it's meaningful? Tell me, what is the purpose? What was the purpose of that? What's going to happen? How do you carry that forward? I don't get this. I don't get it. Unless it was, you say, distraction so Orton could win. How stupid.
Did it make you want to see more of it?
No.
That's the problem
No.
with it. That's the problem.
And that's been my point all along. I've said that in several of the matches, like the Sasha Banks. Bianca, I'm saying, wait a minute, would you want more? No, it's over. What they're doing slowly, I don't care what anybody says, and I may be out of line again, but they're slowly killing the Fiend.
And I hate that because it's a great character.
One of the best. He's the new Undertaker.
They
won't look at it that way.
took the words right out of my mouth.
They won't look at it that way, and they should. I said that when I first met Bray Wyatt backstage. I said to him, you know what? I just have to tell you something. You probably have one of the best gimmicks going right now of anybody in this locker room. And he did. He did. It should have been him, and you don't agree, that kind of did battle with the Taker and had fun with that. Can you imagine the number of matches they could have got out of that? And then when Taker finally did retire, guess who would have taken the urn and dumped the ashes, destroying him once and for all? There's so much there. What's wrong with the writers? And they're slowly destroying the Fiend. You know what?
And I also don't like the Mr. Rogers version of the Fiend either.
Well, that was kind of funny. You mean the Fiend House?
The Fun House.
Oh, you know what?
When they first introduced it,
it was cute.
Okay, and that was over a year and a half ago.
Yep.
So
it gets old.
It gets very old.
And now what'll happen? We're going to have a Randy Orton Fiend fire match like Kane and Undertaker.
I can imagine that's coming.
Oh, sure. Somebody's got to get burned. History repeats itself. I think that they're doing a disservice to Orton. They're doing a big disservice to the Fiend, and they're even doing a bigger disservice to this young lady, Bliss. You know what? Who am I?
I don't see how Alexa Bliss recovers from it. Well, I mean, at least the Fiend was this dark character all along. With her, she was, very, very, very pretty young lady that, her work was okay. It was fine, I would call it. As far as this nonsense, I hate it, Johnny. I hate it.
I think because they handled it the wrong way. I think Sister Abigail if that's who she's supposed to be. Should have been introduced in a different way. Should have been a different character. Should have been part of what they're trying to bring in, not what they're trying to imagine that I want to see. It doesn't work. It's a bad horror film.
You want to know what I think is going to happen in the end? I think that, I don't know how, why, and it's probably not going to be anything to write home about, but Fiend and Bliss will separate, turn on each other or whatever, and then as revenge, the Fiend is going to bring in Sister Abigail to feud with Bliss.
You know what? I think they've waited so long
That they shouldn't even do it.
they shouldn't even do it, because I said to somebody, if they were doing this and I did it with a professional wrestling gimmick, if they're doing this the right way, you know that movie with the doll?
Yeah, Annabelle.
That's exactly how Sister Abigail should have been handled.
Well, Alexa has a new puppet now, and maybe that's going to be like the Annabelle doll. I don't know if you saw that on Raw.
No.
There's a new puppet, a female puppet,
No.
that was on the swing set with her. And she speaks.
To call inch by inch? No, they should have. Can you see how spooky that Abigail thing became? And this
Yes.
became real spooky, because we had this
This is not
person
spooky,
who
though, what we're
looked like a
watching.
doll that the wrestler would bring out, actually sit her in the corner, but then all of a sudden the voices started, and the arms began to move, and all of a sudden you could people going, holy shit, wow, it gets spooky, and it gets cold, and you could feel it. If they did it the right way, this would be so over. Only me, guys. I'm sorry. I know. I'm not coming back.
All right, Johnny, before we get to the main event, you talk about maybe the worst segment of the entire WrestleMania, which covers some ground considering there were some great highlights and there were some lowlights. Bayley was pushed throughout both nights as the wannabe host. I can't stand Bayley. I hate Bayley. I hated Bayley when she had those little things that they use at the used car lots that swing around.
Oh,
The
those skinny guys? Yeah.
The heel Bayley,
She was good. I enjoyed her as a heel.
you like her as a heel.
I like her personally. She's a great performer.
She might be a good human being, but as far as her performing goes, it's just not for me. All weekend she tried to take over as the host, as Titus O'Neil and the Hulkster came out dressed as pirates. Bayley came out for the...
Thank God Sean didn't allow me to watch it all with him. He had friends over. I just intruded for a couple of matches.
For about Bayley's 9th appearance of WrestleMania weekend, she started to run the mouth, and out came two of my least favorite characters in the history of WWE, two very people that have been in your life, the now unfortunate Hall of Famers, Nikki and Brie, the Bella Twins, where John got his one mention of the weekend when Bayley said, John Cena's not here, you can leave now. Then they threw Bayley down the wet ramp, and then Hulk and Titus, dressed as pirates, danced to the Bellas theme song with the Bellas. The moves weren't that good, Johnny, let me tell you. You can look, but you can't touch.
Arr! What you gonna do when the pirate Hulkster gets after you?
No thanks.
Who on earth, again, thought any human being that was a wrestling or a WWE fan...
Did they get booed?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
It was just awful. It was just awful. I thought the John Cena line was a little... That cracked me up for a second, but...
I thought it was good. Why not? Should be there, right?
What's that?
John Cena's not here?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
I just thought it was kind of funny. The
Yeah,
line.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah,
about the
yeah.
only saving grace.
Bayley is a great heel. She's got a great persona about her, and she can work. You got to make her work, but she's good. I'm sorry, I won't take it away from her.
Do you think when John Cena is in his 70s, they'll be dressing him up as a pirate at a WrestleMania?
You know what? All I'm going to say is this, and you're going to agree with me 100%. What's the check say?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Right? They're going to put Hulk Hogan in lays and a hula skirt as long as the check had zeros. So, I'm, you know what? Again, I call it like I see it. I get in trouble for doing that. Maybe that's why people don't call me anymore. And I don't mean that facetiously. And I'm not talking about WWE, and I'm being wise. But you know, that's the name of that game. I think no ill of the Bellas, no ill at all.
I do.
But you know what? It ain't time to bring them back. Please don't do it. I just have to say it, because it's not going to go over well. It's not going to be well for them, and it's not going to be well for the people they're involved with, because the feud will go south, the fans will go south, and it'll be a lost cause. They'll get booed out of the building.
They have made it very clear that they want to return to be involved in the women's tag team picture for the next 2 WrestleManias.
And did they get booed on that?
They didn't say that at the show. This is just in different interviews.
You know
done.
what? Please don't do that. Please don't do it, because what will happen is you'll take 2 young ladies who, it was a TNA era, so they provided what the fans wanted. You know what? I think that people realize enough is enough. People aren't interested in them anymore. It's time to move on. I hope that the WWE writers, Pritchard, and all the other people involved realize this, because it will be an embarrassing moment for them and the people involved.
I'm all belted out. I was all belted out when they were there the first time. I was all belted out, especially the second time. I don't care about their reality show. I don't care about their mother, other than that I hope she's recovering well from her surgery.
Please, she's a wonderful person.
As far as their professional presentations go, I have no interest in it ever again. Ever. Anna, ever. In any way, shape, or form.
It's over.
Unless Randy Orton's going to light a ring on fire again and he puts them in it, and to eliminate them once and for all, c'est la vie. But I hate the Bella Twins. They're everything that's wrong with WWE right now in their sports entertainment presentation. They offered nothing. They didn't have one good match the entire run that they were there. They may be pretty ladies. They might be fine human beings outside of the ring, but I'm not talking about outside of the ring. I'm talking about the presentation on the wrestling show, and it sucks.
Maybe they'll threaten them and say, we'll go to AEW, huh?
We'll let them go there then.
I agree.
And they can be, what's their name? Nikki and what's the other one's name?
Bree and Nikki.
But no, one of them, that's not their real first name, isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it something different?
Nicole.
Nicole and Bree? Those are both of their real names?
I believe.
I thought one was different. Well, they have to be the Garcia twins there, but we'll see.
Well, please, 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 ladies, you had your run. You had some fun. No. You know what? The red
Go
sign's
make your
up.
wine.
That's right. And they have a lot of, believe me, I'm going to say this. You really should know that these 2 ladies are very ingenious when it comes to marketing and ideas. There's no flies on them. But you know what? They did their spot. They had their night in the sun, so to speak. It's time to let somebody else have the shine.
Tried to get your son, but that's a different story.
Well, no. But you know what? If you do this, they're going to go over and hold the tag team championship? Come on. Let's be real.
And what a waste, not for nothing, but what a waste of a WrestleMania moment to do that nonsense they did in Orlando. I know you were mad that you felt a little slighted at the time, but in the end, you lucked out by not being there.
I won.
You won. All right, wrestling fans, we're going to take a quick time out. We'll be back to wrap up the shows. Stand by. Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
MJ in the house.
Future WWE Hall of Famer, mind you. Let me tell you this.
I'm not in there yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
But you will be.
Yeah, I will.
You know Sean wants to be the first 3-timer.
3-timer,
yeah.
yeah.
There you go. Let me tell you, you enjoy the in-studio shoot interviews 4 times a week. It isn't cheap to put these productions together, folks. We need your help.
No, because they got to pay me.
Okay. Coronavirus has killed the nightlife in a lot of ways. We are night owls, Marty and I, but that's a different story for a different time. One way you can help is to check out the great merchandise we have in the Boston Wrestling eBay store. It is perfect for any wrestling man cave or any collection.
That's right. Check it out.
Support Wrestling Insider's in-studio shoot interviews on eBay with this brand new personally autographed WWE Royal Rumble 2021 11x14 poster signed by WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns, his advocate Paul Heyman, and Kevin Owens. Reigns and Owens battled for the Universal title in a last standing match January 31st in the Thunderdome in Tampa. This limited edition collector's poster is number 31 of only 50 produced. Comes with WWE authentication hologram on the poster itself. also comes with an on-air shout-out from WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas and a bonus autographed 8x10 photo. Get this rare, awesome collectible for your man cave and help keep wrestling legends working now.
All right, wrestling fans, welcome back. Before we go, we have to talk about what I considered maybe to be the true main event of WrestleMania 37. One hell of a match. I wish they didn't turn it into a triple threat match, one man's opinion, but the head of the table, the chief, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, retained the SmackDown WWE Universal Championship over both Edge, the winner of the Royal Rumble, and Daniel Bryan, who was kind of needlessly inserted. Paul Heyman even wore a lei coming out for the match. It was such a big night.
That's Heyman. I think the world of that guy, too. And I don't know if I'm a true mark. I guess I am. But I had a chance to see him one-on-one at one of the WrestleManias, and I said, you know, you're probably one of the best heels out there. And he said, thank you. Coming from you, that's something. I'm nobody. Please.
Well, he respects what you've done.
Well, I hope so. I'm nobody. But that man is a genius. He's a genius. And look what he's done for Roman Reigns. He's proved that McMahon and AEW, any of them, need to rethink the position of managers. And you know, Roman Reigns went out and did what he did with these two other guys, and they put on one hell of a match. And I really mean that. And you can see how Edge, the veteran, brought the best out of everybody in that ring. And that's why I say to these young men and women, if you've got a Hall of Famer involved in a match, or you've got a retired professional wrestler on there, if you don't take advantage of that, you're crazy. They all work so well off each other. I could have watched that match 12 times.
Let me ask you this, Johnny. Do you think they needed to put Daniel Bryan in the match?
No. I think that was an afterthought. I think it was, and you made the word needlessly. I would concur and agree with that. You know, we don't agree all the time, but I would concur with your comment. Why? I don't know. Why? Maybe because I think, personally, and it's only me personally, I think Daniel Bryan is winding down. Yeah. I really do. And justly so. There's a man that realizes he's paid his dues. You know, there's a time for everything. He's going to be a very valuable asset when he does wind down completely, working, training. I can't say enough good things.
He'll always be involved in this sport in some capacity.
Can't say enough good things
and
about
he's a great guy. He's a great talent. I just don't think he needed to be involved in that angle.
It was a waste.
Yeah.
It was a waste.
Certainly was. But you know what? You had the guy to do the job.
Yep. Well,
that's basically what it turned into.
That's exactly
he was the guy
right.
that took the job.
Yeah, he had to lay down. So
I'll say this, though. I mean, again, to me, I talked about how it meant something here for little Marty to finally see his first WrestleMania. Every year when I'd go off, when we go to do the conventions and things like that, he'd go, oh, you know, I want to go to a WrestleMania. And for whatever reason, I don't know if Linda had a drink spiked with a little alcohol in it and loosened her up a little bit, but you know, she allowed him to come to WrestleMania this year and see the big event. And for that match, he was up on his feet almost the whole time, yelling and screaming and cheering. He wanted Edge, though. He wanted Edge. I thought we were going to be in for a great swerve, Johnny. I thought someone in WWE went on their own network, went back to Bash at the Beach 1995, and watched the triple threat match between the Nasty Boys, Harlem Heat, and Buckhouse Bunk and Dick Slater, where they did a finish where, almost like what Roman did, piling them on top of each other, and then went for the pin. It was the guy that was sandwiched in the middle that came away with the win because he was over the guy with his shoulders on the net.
Correct.
I thought after a second, they were going to, you know, Roman
Daniel Bryan was going to get it.
No, Daniel Bryan was the one on the bottom.
The pin.
But
Edge was in the middle.
Edge was on top of him. Where Edge was technically on top of Bryan for the pinfall, Roman was kind of holding him down. I thought they were going to announce seconds later that Edge was the one that won the match because he was on top of the guy who was on the bottom. Now, wouldn't that have been interesting if they went with that for a finish?
That should have happened.
Yeah.
That should have happened.
But I was trying to explain to him, I said, I don't think it might not be over quite yet because he was, you know, a little disappointed that Edge didn't win. But no, the tribal chief came away with the championship. Maybe someone will remember that match and they can go forward with it, where they can say, you know what? Edge can say, I pinned him. I was on top of Bryan for the 3 count.
If the writers have any of this, and they do what you're doing, that would be another way to continue the feud with Edge and the Tribal Chief. I think that would sell tickets anywhere after seeing that match. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. And you're 100% right. When the pin came, said, hey, Edge is going to win. I predicted it right. Edge is going to be the swerve. How the hell you pin two guys that way?
It's been done before, but usually you see it in a tag team match where it's two tag team partners doing it to one guy.
Yeah, but
This was a situation where it was a triple threat match.
One-on-one.
Edge was on top of Bryan when that pinfall came.
Winner, chicken dinner, right in the middle.
I thought maybe, who knows, maybe going forward, maybe they have an idea in the back of their head that they're going to go with on SmackDown. We're taping this just a couple of days after WrestleMania aired, so we're not sure what direction the TV show is going to go in, but I think it would be creative. I think it'd be something a little different. Bryan can come back kind of pissy saying, you know what, I didn't get pinned by one guy, I got pinned by two. How are you going to kick out of that? You know,
I don't like
there's
that idea.
There's a couple of different branches on the tree.
Yeah, Edge had him down, and then, you know, the big boy came in and finished it off. But I think you have a good mind there. I think we have an argument. I think we could file a lawsuit now on behalf of Edge and make him, there you go, see that? Here you go. I'll be in as the attorney. We'll file the lawsuit. Edge will become the new champion, and we'll have that match all over again. That's good. Nah.
Usually when an event ends, and you know me, I don't move with great speed, but that's about as fast as you'll see me move to get out of the building. But I sat with him and we watched the whole thing just to see if there was going to be anything until the time came. Roman went to the back and they said, thank you for joining us for WrestleMania.
I expected a swerve in that match.
Yeah.
I really did. I predicted a swerve.
I have to say that was the match of the weekend to me.
I agree. I would agree. Lashley, McIntyre, good. Two matches
and
right
you know
there.
What? The two world champions for their respective promotions, those should be the best matches.
And they proved it.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yes.
Finally.
At least when it comes to the main event picture, for all the knocks that we found in different matches in different parts of these shows,
right.
The two champions right now in the championship pictures have been done very well.
Yep.
So we can't complain about that.
Nope.
That's something very positive about
Yep.
it. And again, would you give a score overall to WrestleMania on a scale of 1 to 10?
I thought it was a halfway decent show. If it wasn't for those two championship matches, I don't think they would have had a whole hell of a lot.
There'd be a lot less positive.
Yeah, I really would have. I don't know. I'd probably bring it up there around a 5 or a 7, right around there. You know, like again, I'm rating the two. You just said the two champion, 10, no question in my mind about it. Everybody worked hard, but I don't think it's at that level of WrestleMania that you're so used to. We have those strong matches. So I think that's Ross. They probably a 7.
I gave night 1 a 6. I gave night 2 a 5.
There you go. So average them out.
But again, that's including those two matches. If those two matches, we didn't have those two blockbuster title matches.
Down around 3.
There wasn't a heck of a much to write home about.
No,
it was
I
just
agree.
kind of there. You know
Well,
what
it's
I mean?
another Raw or SmackDown show.
Yeah,
That's
right,
all it was.
right.
Yep, that's all it was.
With some outstanding production values. That stadium was out of this world. The pyrotechnics, the set. I mean, it was, you know, I could have gone maybe a little higher being there in person because the ambiance was just out of this world. To be around fans again was just cool. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
I can't think of, it was the last time I was at a live wrestling event was the one you were at with, when they shot the initial angle with John and the Fiend for WrestleMania last year at the Garden. Mm-hmm. So it has been quite a while since we saw wrestling in person. That part of it I enjoyed quite a bit. And again, the memory, just to have little Marty there, just seeing the excitement. He loved it. And to tell the mother it was a couple of the greatest nights of his life, that meant a lot to me. And that made me happy that we went down and did it for what was a very long Wrestle House week that you guys are going to enjoy the fruits of our labor of, like Majo wants to enjoy his fruits.
Listen, folks, get those posters right there. Never mind Majo. It's his show. I'm telling you to show and get those two posters. They won't be around long.
They are available in the eBay store, folks. The link is available in the eBay store. The link is available in the description box below to go to our eBay store. Again, don't forget the same thing can be said for the Patreon, where you can help keep Wrestling Legends working and stream hundreds of studio shoot interviews, plus get that early access to Wrestling Insiders. If you're watching Friday night after SmackDown on the Premier Chat, give us your thoughts. Type them in. The Super Chat button is always open if you want to help keep the shows on the air. Tip the bartender. And again, if you watch after the fact, leave some thoughts in the comments section below. As we approach Make-A-Wish Day on April 29th, Johnny and I are trying to put together something unique, something fun, something special, maybe something live on April 29th, who knows? But for my partner in crime, old Johnny Cash himself, the real JC, I'm Dan Marati. We'll see you next Friday night for another Fabulous Fridays. You and yours be well, stay healthy. Good night.
The World Wrestling Federation was live at the Pontiac Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, home of WrestleMania 3, Saturday, April the 23rd, 1988. In the opening contest, Iron Mike Sharp beat Scott Casey. Bret Hitman Hart battled Bad News Brown to a time-limit draw. Jake the Snake Roberts with the win over Greg the Hammer Valentine, replacing Harley Race. Andre the Giant defeated Hacksaw Jim Duggan via countout. The Rougeau brothers victorious over the Killer Bees. Ravishing Rick Rude beat Don Morocco. WWF Intercontinental Champion, the Honky Tonk Man, retained the title over Brutus the Barber Beefcake via countout. And in the main event, WWF Tag Team Champions Demolition retained the titles over Strikeforce. If you were in Pontiac live, share your memories in the comments section below. Use the links in the description box to keep Wrestling Legends working in our eBay store and on our acclaimed Patreon streaming service so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out. Boston Wrestling Sports in the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's no-holds-barred sex, drugs, and rock and roll journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times. Join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.